Hey guys! I have a very special guest here today. It's Helena. You know how I'm always asking for your stories and to share with me your experiences. She wrote me an email sharing her travel experience, and then she said she was going to be in Christchurch, and I was like, hey, why don't we just meet up and I'll just interview you? And she was a really good sport, and she said yes. So I'm very excited that she's here. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Sweden. I'm half Vietnamese, half Swedish, and I kind of grew up in different countries. I went to American schools.
Pretty cool, though. Yeah, so she was telling me that her dad was a diplomat, or still is a diplomat. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so they grew up living in different countries. She was born in South Africa, and then
we lived in New York for a couple of years, and then in Sweden, and in the Congo, and in Israel. And then after high school, I moved back to Sweden, and I've been there for the past 9 years.
Cool. And now, how long have you been traveling for?
Well, actually, today I've been traveling for 6 months exactly. So I left home 6 months ago in June.
That's awesome. And where have you been so far?
So I started in South Africa, and I was in Southern and Eastern Africa for about 2 months. So I went through like 8 countries there, and ended in Kenya. And then I went to Southeast Asia, to Thailand. I was there for a month. And then I went to Myanmar, so for a month as well, Cambodia, and Malaysia, just for a few days. And then I came to New Zealand, and I've been here for 6 weeks now.
That's really cool. Do you have any, I always hate this when people ask me, oh, what's been your favorite part?
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering if you've had any, highlights, anything that stood out.
Well, I wouldn't say that I have a favorite place, because every place has been different. And had its own charm. But, I mean, I really like New Zealand so far.
Yeah.
And I think, this is where I've had a lot of really good experiences. I went skydiving.
Oh, cool. Where?
In Lake Taupo.
Oh, nice.
And I went to the glacier, Franz Josef Glacier. It's really cool.
Did you do, on it or anything?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I did the helicopter.
Nice. Yeah.
Ride
I didn't do that yet.
Yeah, but, I mean, I really loved something in every country that I've been to.
Yeah, I think I always find that too. How much longer are you traveling, or do you not know?
Well, I'm kind of flexible, but I think I'll probably be back home in about 2 months, so in February.
Yeah.
So after New Zealand, I leave tomorrow, which is very sad.
Awesome.
I go to Australia, and then I think I will slowly make my way back home.
Sounds good. This sounds like a good plan. If you don't mind me asking, because it's the question that everyone always wants to know, is how do you afford to travel, or how did you save up for it, or is there any tips you have?
Yes. I mean, I guess I was pretty lucky, because when I got the idea to do this and to travel, I had already saved up a lot of money.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, I guess I don't usually spend that much at home. And I mean, a lot of people I think that you have to be, rich to travel.
Right.
But I mean, I paid for everything myself. And I just, once I decided that I wanted to go traveling, I started, saving more consciously. I mean, it's basically pretty simple. Work as much as you can and spend as little as you can.
Yeah, totally.
So that's pretty much what I did. I stopped shopping, tried to kind of cook my own lunches for work. I try to cut out all of the unnecessary costs that you have. And I'm also renting out my apartment at home.
That's really
so
good.
I'm making a little bit of money off of that.
That's good. What kind of work were you doing before?
I was working as a nurse for the past 2 years.
Nice. I meet a lot of people traveling who are nurses, and I feel like it's just a good thing, because you can also get jobs in other countries, and and you make pretty good money in most places.
Well, I think not in Sweden.
Oh, right.
As much as
too
in
bad.
the US, yeah. I mean, that proves that you don't have to have a really high-paying job to be able to put aside money to go traveling.
Was it hard? Did you quit your job, or are you taking a leave? Or
I quit my job.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, it's really easy to just come back, and they'll always need nurses, so it'll be easy for me to get a job again. I kind of like having the freedom that I don't really know what I'll do when I get back home. Just having options.
Definitely. I think that's good. Yeah, keep it open.
Yeah.
Has there been anything that you've been really surprised about, or that you learned about yourself or about the world, or Any like something that stands out to you?
I mean, I've learned a lot about myself, like that I'm capable of doing a lot of things. Also realizing that traveling, the fact that it is an option for me, that I can do it, like that already makes me so fortunate. Yeah. Because when you're traveling in a lot of countries, you know, when you meet people from that country, they've never been outside of their own country, and you just,
I know what you mean. If you're someone who can travel, you have to consider yourself very, very lucky, and you feel grateful for what you have, for sure.
I also realized that, because back at home when, you know, I was telling people that I was quitting my job to go travel, I hadn't met anyone who had really done that before. But once you go traveling, you meet people just like you know, that have quit their jobs and that have kind of left everything to go traveling, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. That's like partly why I'm trying to bring you more stories like this, because if you haven't traveled and you haven't met all these people, but once you start traveling, you realize there's so many young people out there traveling, or young, old, whatever, all different ages. And it's not actually as hard as you think. Like, you just have to, like, choose to do it.
Because back home, a lot of people were saying, oh, you know, I'm so jealous of you. I wish I could do that. Or I wish I could do that, as if it would be too late. But I think that's another thing, meeting, you know, older travelers, like 40, 50, 60 plus, that, you know, it's never too late to travel. Like, you can travel even though you have kids. I mean, you can make it work.
So if there is like one piece of advice that you could give to someone who wants to go traveling, what would it be?
Well, first, to do it. Like, don't be scared, and don't think that, you know, you're too old, or that you have to be this super extrovert or party animal to go traveling. That, you know, anyone who wants to can do it. Save your pennies. And I guess be flexible, because you never know what places you're going to like, where you want to stay longer, and you don't want to be kind of bound by having a flight, you know, 3 months in advance, and
I think that's
things like that.
So I hope that gives you a little bit more of an idea of other people who are traveling. I want to keep doing this. Thank you so much for doing this, and I'm so excited for the rest of your trip. And yeah, it's so cool. Do you want to share your Instagram?
It's Swedish for, it means one-way ticket.
I think that's so cool. I love that in Swedish there is a word for one-way ticket. That's so awesome. So you can follow her adventure and see what she's up to. Very inspirational. So I hope that inspired you. Well, that was super cool meeting up with Helena. So awesome to actually meet viewers like you in person, and it's really cool because she said that I'm one of the first people who inspired her to go traveling. She watched my video where I booked a one-way ticket back when I lived in New York, and then she thought like, maybe I could do that one day. Anyway, so weird and so cool. Thank you so much for doing that. And I look forward to doing more interviews like this. So if you are going to be in the Christchurch area, or you live here, or anything, let me know. Write your stories below, and maybe I will pick one and I'll interview you. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more travel videos from me, and I hope you're all doing well.